Welcome to the SwimSwam podcast. I'm your host, Coleman Hodges. Joining me today, I've got a very special guest. He is a musician. He's almost a swimmer, but now he's a swimmer. He's a father of three, and today we are talking with Matt Mauser.
Good to be here.
I want to give this conversation a little bit of context. You're a father of three. You lost your wife, Christina Mauser, in January of last year in the same helicopter crash that killed NBA legend Kobe Bryant. Christina was the basketball coach at Bryant's Mauser Sports Academy. She was traveling with him and 7 others to a tournament in Thousand Oaks, California at the time of the crash. You also had a working relationship with Kobe. Can you give me just a brief synopsis of how you worked with him?
Right. No. Christina was actually, she was his, I don't think she worked for the Mamba Academy per se. She just was working for the team, the Mamba team. Some people get that.
Okay.
Confused. I was this kid's teacher. Christina and I were both teachers at the school where his children went. And through that, we became, friends and more of a working relationship. He discovered that I was a musician and he had heard some of my stuff. We had gone on a field trip one day and he asked to accompany us, and we started talking music amongst other things. But through that friendship and through that encounter, he discovered that I was a songwriter, and he asked to hear some of my stuff, and he loved it. And so he said, I want you to come to work for me. That's the kind of person he was. And when he saw, somebody that had a gift in a certain area, he would use them. And so he asked me if I would write music for his podcast called The Punies. And that relationship turned into a mutual. Christine and I were both coaching basketball at the same school. And through that, he was starting his daughter's club team. He was coaching that. And originally I was the assistant coach, and he quickly realized that I was not quite as gifted as my wife was in basketball and X's and O's and just, different schemes. Christina had a brilliant mind for basketball. She was a phenomenal high school player, was actually CIF all-star for here in Southern California. It's hard to become it's a pretty deep pool. And Christina was the MVP for the all-star game when her senior year. And she was just a phenomenal, not only an athlete, but just a phenomenal mind for basketball. She could pick up anything you throw down, anything he could throw down. Like, we were talking about the triangle offense, and it took me, it was a little challenging for me to figure out, but Christina figured every aspect of the triangle offense in one day. So she had a brilliant mind. She was like that in everything she did. She just had an incredible ability to pick up information and schemes and different patterns. She just had a great, amazing mind for patterns. So I was, kind of more regulated to writing music, which was my strength. And he, because it was a girls' team, and she was fantastic with the girls, and she absolutely loved coaching the girls, and it kind of freed us up to have some time during the day. And we decided to, she decided to start coaching for him. So it was a good time, and we were really enjoying our lives during that time. And, she was teaching basketball, and I was writing music and playing in my 2 bands, which, had forced us to kind of quit teaching because they both got, some legs, and I couldn't handle all the different components to having 3 kids, being a teacher, and keeping 2 bands and a business together. So that's kind of how it all started.
Yeah, you mentioned wearing a lot of hats, and we're going to cycle through a few of those hats. And I want to start with athlete. It sounds like you and Christina were both athletes. You connected over being athletes in a myriad of ways throughout your lives. But you were, as I mentioned before, you were a swimmer. You picked up swimming I'm taking it back to your young days. You picked up swimming fairly young, so in your young days, but fairly late as a swimmer.
Very late.
You played water polo and baseball in high school, and it wasn't until your senior year, I believe, that you started swimming.
It was my senior year in high school that I played water polo and baseball. I had a natural kind of throwing motion from having played baseball when I played water polo. And back then, in the 80s, when I was in high school, the way they found water polo players, they would go out to your PE class and they'd make everybody get at the end of the pool. And then whoever was the first one to the other end, they'd say, would you think about playing water polo? So I grew up on a houseboat in LA Harbor when I'd go visit my dad. My parents were separated. My dad lived on a houseboat. And I was in the water every day as a kid. So I was a good swimmer. So when it came to that PE class and they lined everybody up on the end of the pool, and the PE teacher, who was a football player, the water polo coach came out and said, hey, swim. And I won. And he pulled me out and says, would you ever consider playing water polo? And I said, sure. So I had a natural throwing style from, good motion of being able to throw. I was a good baseball player. Mm-hmm. And so I said, yeah, I'll come out. So I went out and I played water polo, and I wasn't the best swimmer on the team by any means. These kids that were swimming were much faster in the water than I was at the time, but I could sit half court and score because I had such a good mechanics when it came to, my arm and being able to throw. So the coach and I progressively, still got to swim in water polo. So I progressively got faster. I remember being like cheating, going halfway, and everybody would be able to do a 50 or 100. I could maybe get in like a 75, but I would cheat and cut off the lap, act like I was hiding, and then come in so I would finish at the same time. But I just wasn't as strong a swimmer as the other guys. And then through time and just kind of continuing to play water polo, my swimming abilities got, I improved rapidly. Mm-hmm. And then I played, I love polo and I love playing baseball. I didn't really consider swimming because it's just, I didn't. But I remember one time being in the baseball field, shagging flies with all my friends sitting there, and I could hear a swim meet. And I'd hear everybody going crazy and screaming. I heard girls, and here I am just, catching flies and throwing baseball. And I said, that sounds kind of fun. I think I'd rather be there. So my senior year, my coach said, you just play baseball, but swim in the morning, go to baseball practice, and then we'll swim at night. We'll put you in a later session of swimming. So I did. And, I got down to like a 5,600 back, which, if anybody knows times, for never having swum, my kids are coming in. I can't talk right now. Please shut the door. I'll be right out, buddy. It was, coach goes, that's pretty respectable time for never having, swum. And so I got noticed by college. Some of my friends that I had played water polo moved on to school, and then I got recruited to swim at Golden West College, which is a local junior college where I played polo and swam. And I was All-American in junior college for swimming and polo. And then I got recruited to swim at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and my time. Then when I was able to dedicate a significant amount of time to swimming, I don't think I really dedicated more than 3 months to swimming. That was like the longest I'd ever trained.
Yeah.
And I remember I became an All-American in the 200 back and the 100 back and NC2As. So that was pretty cool. So it was and then I ended up swimming a couple of years later after I graduated, which is where I did my best times, because then I dedicated myself. I swam for Mission Viejo, the Natadores, for a couple of years, just on my own, and had at 23, 24. That's where I got my fastest times, because I kind of dedicated myself. But it was, maybe I missed my calling in the sense where I could have maybe done Olympic trials or something like that. But to me, it was something that I was good at naturally. And it was cool to be good at something, like, and, not a lot of people have the ability to kind of swim. I have naturally long arms and kind of thin. So it kind of, it worked out, just, it was, and, I was a lifeguard. I was a Huntington Beach lifeguard for 22 years. And it was good to be as lifeguards are good swimmers, but swimmers, that are dedicated to swimming and are lifeguards, it was really cool to be the fastest lifeguard at the beach for a while. It was, it was just a good feeling. It was just good to kind of have that as a skill.
Yeah. That's interesting because you kind of came to the game late. You obviously had some talent. Like you said, you're naturally good at it. You have the physicality to swim, to move through the water. And then you end up NCAA All-American, Cal Poly, and then you train by yourself at Mission Viejo, one of the most famous clubs in the country, certainly.
Bill Rose was the coach.
Okay. Yeah.
I ended up being a lifeguard with his son. I think it was Kyle Rose. He was, but I just walked in and I said, I want to train. He goes, well, you're like 23. I said, I know. I just want to train. He goes, okay, it's $90 a month.
So yeah, why did you just want to train at that point? Especially like you said, if you weren't like shooting for an Olympic trials or something like that.
I wanted to be, they had these competitions in lifeguards called the Bud Light competitions. And so during the summertime, I trained for these lifeguard competitions. And there's another event for Huntington Beach called the Mega Colossus, which is 8 miles of running and I think about 3 miles of swimming. And I wanted to win that year. I think it was like 93 or 94 or something like that. I didn't win, but I won every swimming portion. I wasn't quite the runner as some of these guys were, but I think I was like top 3 or 4. It was like 200 and something guys, and at every swim I would catch everybody and come in, and then the runners would track me down. I'd pull away. Then the last section of that 8 mile course on the running portion, I got past. And I'm not quite the runner. Wow. Baseball isn't training to be a distance runner by any means. But it was, I think I just wanted something to connect with, I think I just wanted something to be an outlet. I've always had a lot of energy. And so I wanted, when I find something to focus on, I just focus on it and kind of just went for it. And it was relaxing. It was, like I said, it's nice to be good at something. And when you're good at something, I like to pursue it.
Yeah. And so when did that portion of your swim career finally, dwindle away, die down? When did you stop training at Mission?
Yeah. So after that, I realized that I needed to start living, get a job after graduating from college. So, I started my music career, and so music kind of took over, and I started a band. I was briefly married for about 1.5 years, and didn't work out. Nice gal, but just wasn't, I wasn't ready to be married. I was like 27, 28.
Yeah.
And the music really took off, and in that same time I got a teaching job. And so I was teaching Spanish at a private school. I was lifeguarding on the weekends, lifeguarding during the summer. And my band, we had, I won't say the name, but we had a band that was very popular in the area. And we started really getting a lot of work, and, it steadily began to grow and grow and grow and that became the priority. So, I love the competition aspect of things. I loved competing. I loved having something that got my adrenaline going. And when the music kind of took the place of swimming, I kind of, that kind of took precedent. And I kind of got out of it for a while.
Absolutely. And I think you hear a lot of of swimmers, of athletes, they leave their sport, but they're still just as competitive, and they put all that energy into
Yeah.
something else.
No,
And
I needed, I mean, being on stage is, I started off in clubs, we call them
mhm,
bars. We were a bar band.
yeah.
And then it progressed to private parties. And then it progressed to corporate parties. And then corporate parties progressed to, concert series. And then concert series progressed to opening for major acts. And then it just kept growing and growing and growing. And then it was like, this is a legitimate business, which is where I met my wife. She was a fan. So it kind of paid off. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really curious because it sounded like you were a regular jock in high school. Not to put you into a personality box, is you were very athletic. Obviously, you played a lot of sports. How'd you get into music?
Well, music was in my family. My aunt was a pianist. And my great grandma was a pianist. I come from a long line of like piano players.
Okay.
My aunt played Carnegie Hall, and then she was the pianist for Radio City Music Hall for 30 years.
Whoa.
On the Rockettes. So I came from a very classically trained musical family.
Yeah.
And so I heard it my whole life. I heard standards. I heard, all the musicals. So it was like that was just part of my upbringing. My dad was a guitar player. And so as a child, I would listen to him play guitar. I mean, it was, it wasn't something you heard once in a while. It was a daily occurrence, So hearing music and understanding it was a big part of my musical ability, I guess. If you're exposed to it, you're gonna pick it up. So we always had guitars in the house and drums. So I gravitated towards it. And, I was singing at a very young age. My dad would sing songs, so I would pick it up. My mom was very musical. So I think, that was the genesis. And then as I grew older, I realized that I had this ability in music and being able to hear things. And so that kind of, I took to that just like I took to swimming and sports, that kind of, it was the natural transition to something else. And as an entertainer, I loved kind of getting up there and entertaining and doing my thing. We had a lot of success. So success, just like anything, if you do good at it, if you're good at it, kind of you want to keep doing it. And so I kind of looked at it the same way I looked at swimming.
Yeah. Did you were you practicing music, throughout high school, college? Did you know?
I never took a formal lesson. I just figured it out. I got a job at a music store, and I walked in and just said, "If you give me a job, and you can pay me in lessons." So he said, "Okay." So he paid me, but I still got lessons, and I got a few. We wouldn't really have lessons as much as I would just. Music's not too hard to figure out once you kind of know chords and progressions, and you kind of, it's like anything. If you want to figure it out, you figure it out.
Yeah. When was that?
What's that?
When was that? When did you get that?
Oh, that was 17.
Okay.
I was 17. I got during the winter time when I wasn't, lifeguarding, I got a job at the music store. And I also had a job working at an ice cream store. I used to scoop ice cream.
He stayed busy in high school.
That paid $3.10. I paid $3.10 an hour. I work 100 hours, every 2 weeks, and I make like $300.
Jeez.
And then I realized that I needed to get a new career. So lifeguarding paid $11 an hour, which was, quite the increase. So I realized that, okay, swimming paid off.
Yeah.
And then when I started doing the music, I realized that, free enterprise music, having a band, charging it, then it really paid off. And so, I love the aspect of business. That was fun.
Absolutely. So, when music started becoming a real career for you, as you said, it grew and grew and grew. And one day you're like, okay, I can actually make this a real business. I mean, when I think of like a performing artist, I think the common thought is just, oh, you go on stage, you do your thing, and then you have fun or you party the rest of the time. And people, we don't see all the hard work that goes into that. And that kind of brings me in mind of, something like college swimming, where it's like, you really have to dedicate a lot of yourself to that.
Absolutely.
How did you feel prepared, and how did you feel unprepared to take that step into a career?
Well, it's interesting. I think that swimming kind of molded me into having a sense of discipline and not quitting.
Mm-hmm.
Swimming, I think it's so painful. You're cold, you stink, you smell like chlorine, your hair falls out. You have to really be mentally strong to be a good swimmer, to dedicate yourself to swimming. And when you dedicate yourself to, business, it's so much, compared to like swimming every day, twice a day for years.
Yeah.
It's almost like a step down and levels of intensity and the ease in which you do something. So I looked at my music career running the business. So my wife was brilliant at running the business. She was charming. She was organized. She was great with clients. So she did the majority of that stuff. So I can't take full credit, but I love the business aspect of for me, what music was the business. Mm-hmm. And we were in demand, and, we would negotiate prices. We would, set everything up. We'd do contracts. Everything that was associated with running a business was just as exciting to me as doing the music and watching our success and making money. It was exciting. And but we were disciplined, if you're lazy and you just think it's going to happen, it's not going to happen. It's like in anything you do, you got to put the work in. You got to have a passion towards what it is. And so I really think swimming for me was kind of the catalyst. And then I used so many of those lessons in my career,
Yeah. And again, I think we hear that from athletes, from swimmers. And I think that's one
absolutely
cool thing about
it's not rocket science. It's not, it's not a fluke that successful athletes and people that are ability to work in a team setting. I think that swimming was baseball for me was good too. I played football, I played baseball, I played water polo, and the team sports, also helped me in being able to, when I went to the swimming team in college, the kids were a little different. I came from like water polo, we clap people with towels, and baseball where you'd like yell at each other, you goof, and you have a good time, and you get to know the guy banter and all that stuff. And it was fun. And I remember swimming with girls for the first time, with women for the first time. I was like, I better not say something stupid. I had to kind of like tone down my personality, but it was still a team, and you needed to learn how to work with people, and it was fun. And I learned how to I learned how to be a part of a team, and and all those little lessons I think definitely help you later on in life.
Yeah. And I'm obviously having a family is being a team as well, working as a team. And so you stepped away from swimming for a while. You grew your career, you grew your family. When did you start coming back to swimming? Because I'm pretty sure it was even before the crash. Yeah.
Well, so I got a gym membership at a local club. It's called Los Caballeros, which is a club here in Orange County. And they had a pool, and I would see, I'd go lift weights or play basketball. And then I figured maybe I should take advantage of the fact there's a pool here, so every once in a while I'd get in. And then I noticed people that were swimming on a club team. There was a group that got together every day, and I'd be swimming and I'd listen to them. And I kind of met this guy, Diego, who was running the master's program, but swimming during the day and training on his own because he had to train before he went to coach. And, I would just kind of get locked in, and then I would do their workouts just for fun. And I just felt better. My body felt, it was like getting back in step with your past, or getting back in the womb. It just felt good.
Yeah.
And it was a workout that you just can't get, lifting weights or, anyway else. You know, swimming it's just a different workout. You feel better in your clothes. I felt better on stage. My lung capacity was better. I could sing better. You know, it just was all those things that you take for granted when you're not doing it, you know. And when you're doing it. And so I said, you know, there's a master's program at night. I wanted to spend the day with my kids and my wife when she had retired from teaching. So she would go off to coach, you know, at night. She was coaching from like 7 to 9 at night. That's when they would practice. And so I would go swim at night at this local high school, and we'd have the kids, the nanny would come and watch, or a babysitter would come by at night and watch the kids. So I would swim every night while Christina was away. And then we'd, you know, come back, and we had a great life. So it was like for about 2 years, I was getting back into swimming. I really noticed that it helped my singing, you know, my lung capacity, my ability to kind of phrase and all the things. You know, Sinatra was a huge fan of swimming, and he said he swam as a kid, and it really helped his vocals. It helps your ability to hold a note. You know, it just helps in every way. So it just felt better.
Yeah, I mean, that you say that and it's like, oh, duh. But like, that's something I would never even think about because I'm not super musically inclined. You know, I'm not in that world. But that's a really cool benefit that, yeah, you might not even notice until you're in it, you're doing it. Nice. And so then obviously, you know, it's been about a year since the crash. And I mean, how have you incorporated swimming into your routine and into that healing process?
Yeah, no, it took on, after Christina passed, it just took on a whole different, you know, significance for me. It went from something I did just to kind of feel good and you know, keep in shape to something that was, you know, it became like a really important part of my life, you know, to keep my sanity, to keep my my emotions from getting out of control. I mean, it was therapy for me, and just to kind of continuing to, you know, do something on a daily basis, which was really important, and kind of cleared my mind. That was the hardest part. I needed my mind cleared, and swimming definitely did that. It was like having a task and being able to get through that task and then return to my day became a huge part of my healing process. I mean, I'm still not healed, I'll be honest with you. I'm not even close, but because of my, you know, the scheduling of in the middle of the day, it gave me an outlet. It gave me something to look forward to, and it calmed me down, which was really necessary, especially for the first 6 months after you lose, you know, the love of your life. It's just it's brutal, you know?
Yeah. The common phrase is I can imagine, but I can't. The truth is I cannot imagine a loss like that. It sounds just devastating. And then to pile on top of that, you know, you have 3 kids, raising them on your own, and then we get hit with a global pandemic 2 months later. I mean, can you just talk to me a little bit about those first 6 months, especially once COVID started, what your process was like for getting through that with swimming and otherwise?
Yeah, no, it was, well, you know, in the beginning, you're in shock. You're just, you know, you just kind of, what am I going to do? How do I do this? You know, and you're trying to organize your thoughts. You're trying to, like, what's best for my children? Where am I going, you know, from here on out? And there's just so many things going past you. People want to talk to you. I mean, obviously it was hard. It was additionally hard because it was in the, you know, she died the way she did in the public eye. And that was very challenging. All the natural kind of challenges that had with it, you know, dying next to Kobe, and the media. But I was numb for the first, and everybody, the interesting part is, and they always tell you this, and people who have had somebody die that they love, they'll tell you in the beginning, people would say, whatever you need. You hear this is one of the things you hear. Everybody's here for you. Whatever you need, we're here for you. You hear this over and over again. The community supports you. You have so much love. We're all with this. If there's ever anything you need. And then March 13th, gone. Shoot, everybody was gone. And it started to waver. So, when you're grieving and you hear these things, you're like, oh, I'm going to be, it will be. And then, for anybody that lost anybody, and you hear these things, you just take them with a grain of salt, because everybody leaves, especially in a pandemic. But even then, everybody leaves because it's painful. I don't know the reasons. And the people that stay with you and are able, you can call and you can vent or you can talk to, those are the people that you keep in your life. And those are the people that are there for you. And you really find out who your friends are. You really find out the people that are there for you when something like this happens. Now, a pandemic, on steroids with that. I went from I could call, can you help? I gotta go swim. Can you watch the kids for an hour? Mm-hmm. To there's nobody. And it was like me. It was like I just felt like this wasteland. The streets were closed down. Everybody's terrified. And, a month and a half into my wife dying, here I am by myself with 3 kids, devastated, sad, and trying, every night is, it's just brutal. And then you're all alone. And it was terrifying, And then, I had some family members. My mom stayed with me for a while. My dad stayed for a while. Then he got cancer. Everybody got cancer in my family. So my mom got it. My dad got it. Christina's dad was hospitalized and her mom was hospitalized. So I went from having some help to no help. And then everybody that I love got sick. So it was a tough 6 months. They shut the pools down, so I couldn't swim. But I live next to a river trail, so I would, I'd get some time and I would get on that river trail, and I live about 3 miles to the beach. So I'd walk all the way to the beach every day and then come back. And there were times when that trail was not long enough. I wish I had an extra 3 or 4 miles, because I just couldn't walk enough, So I'd walk every day and just try to make sense of things. I was just trying to find something to connect with, with where am I going? What do I have to look forward to? How am I going to move forward? It's how am I going to take care of my children? How am I going to be a loving dad and be in this much pain, and then missing her and then talking to her, and I'm talking to her as I'm walking, all these, you're just lost, it's a really hard place to be. But then you get days where you're like, I'm okay. And then you'll talk to somebody or reach out to somebody and you'll get a sense of normalcy again. And you'll start to see a future. You see, a light, and then, then you go back. It's just this roller coaster ride. So I think that swimming for me was such a good teacher in knowing that you're not always going to be your fastest. There'll be days where you're broken down, but you still get in the pool and you still swim because you're hoping for that taper. You're hoping to shave and that you're going to do your best times at the end, So I just hoped for a better day, and I just kept going. That's all I could do.
Yeah. I'm curious about something else. You were a coach, your wife was a coach. From a coaching perspective, now that I believe you were teaching your 3 kids for a while as well. You were obviously also a teacher. How did you get through that? Or, how's that roller coaster been from a teaching perspective, from a coaching perspective of being a mentor?
Hmm. Well, I was good at two things in school. I was good at Spanish because I could hear it, and I was good at history because I just love history. So my kids, and then music. So my kids learned three topics. They learned Spanish, history, and music, and that was it. And then we'd take them swimming. I take them. And so it was like, you're going to do what I do. I figured math and English, and I knew a little bit of grammar, and everything else you're just going to have to figure out on your own. But you're going to be a savant in Espanol, history, and swimming, and music. And so that's what I taught them. You know, I made teaching Spanish fun. I did it all with music, and that was one of the reasons Kobe he had heard my children's CD that I gave to the kids. And I just taught concepts through music, and it was fun, and the kids loved it, and they remembered it. I was able to. So anything that's memorable through music or rhymes, that's kind of that was my approach to teaching my own kids, and it works. Kids love that stuff. I love that stuff. It's like it's the common language. So, but as far as teaching them, it was a break from the norm, so it was fun. Then I got tired. You're like, you have three kids. I got a 10, 12, or 12, 10, and 4-year-old. So the levels, it's hard to kind of like keep them all on the same page.
Yeah.
So thankfully, school went online a little bit later, and then we had summer. That was keeping them busy during summer with nothing to do. It was hard. So. Yeah, but I think my skill as a teacher, my background as an entertainer, and being able to keep kids engaged helped, and then it definitely helps to have experience when you're going through something. It definitely helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, moving forward, I'm a little curious. Do you have any aspirations with swimming? Obviously, you're using it as a form of therapy, but I mean, it's from what I was reading, it sounds like you're training a little bit too.
Yeah, we're doing Dave Salo was training at the place where I swim.
Okay.
And so my coach was picking up all Dave's like workouts. So we're doing like these bizarre workouts where you do Superman swim, and then we're doing the Frankenstein kick on your back and this stuff. I'm like, these workouts are nuts, and then you go halfway, you do a flip turn, you come back, you do another. It's like a water polo workout,
Yeah.
And just to get the muscles that you probably don't get when you're just going back and forth, and just interval training. So it was, maybe I'm giving away his secrets, but we started doing these more sprint kind of type workouts, and my time started, my speed definitely increased. I hate doing long sets, like anything over 200, 300. I don't want to do that. I like kind of getting out and talking to everybody else. Hey, it's more my speed. I like fast, training fast, and the fast twitch stuff. So we got to do, he's kind of Diego, our coach, has incorporated a lot more of those fast twitch kind of sets into our training, which has been really fun. I like, and there's something fun about being able to go fast. Even I'm 50, so being able to I'll give you my times, but a lot of times they're with fins on, so it's like it just feels good to go fast,
Absolutely.
You break down a little bit and you get these aches and pains, but you can still call your buddies, go, hey, guess what I did in a 50 back today? They're like, no way. Yeah, get back in. So it's fun. I like training. It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, that is fun. And we love Dave Salo. We've had him on the podcast. He's a genius. And I think everyone who's ever trained with him will tell you the same thing, that he's just a mastermind at getting it, at breaking down the science and then getting you to do it well, do it fast, and have fun doing it. And so that sounds fun.
No, it was cool having, they've been training there. It's interesting to watch these kids. I mean, they're going 75s on 30, 31, 32. It's like, that's like 32.75. That's flying. You know, I think about
crazy.
And I look at the times today versus, you know, when I was in college, I was, you know, I felt like, you know, I was never at the elite, but I, you know, it was within a, you know, train a little harder. You always thought maybe I could, but then you look at these guys today, there's no way. I don't even, the times are just ridiculous to me. Like you look at Caleb Dressel, what is 17.6, something like that?
Yep.
What it was, 17.6?
17.6.
That just seems like unhuman.
I
not
think
right.
we're
all underwater, dolphin kicks. It's like, why didn't they have that technology when we were growing, when I was
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone thinks that swim is still inhuman. So we're with you. I can't make heads or tails of it. It's like, dude.
It was that, yeah. It's like you're watching Aquaman or like a dolphin. It's just ridiculous, you know. He doesn't even take. I think he takes like what, 13, 14 strokes the whole.
Oh
the
yeah,
whole
it's.
I show that I show that to people that are non-swimmers, and they're just, what is it? This is ridiculous. You know, it's freakish. So
It is freakish, and so you mentioned, you know, you like sprinting, you like the training, but the community. I mean, I think the swimming community is pretty special, and I think once you're a part of it, you never really leave it. You're always a part of it. I mean, how big has that been? Just having a team to train with.
Oh man, it's been, you know, the people that you get to know them, and there's something about working hard with people, and you get, you know, when you're suffering and you're in pain, and then they're there for you, and you're training and you're talking in between, and then, you know, on Friday we have beers on Friday. We bring them in, and we'll have like, everybody will have a beer at the end at the end of the week, and it's just this feeling, you know, the camaraderie that is so important with anything you do. You know, we're human. We need human interaction, and we haven't been able to have it, you know, on so many levels. There's been so much loss. And so it's nice to have, you know, people that you can talk to and people that you can train with. And you get a really, you get a close bond with the people that you train with. You know, it's interesting. You know, it's almost becomes like it's your therapy. And then the people that are in there, it's almost like an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, you know. It's like you go there, I'm Matt, I'm an alcoholic, whatever it is, you know. I'm Matt, and I'm screwed up. So I need to get in with the rest of you and just kind of work out my problems. And it feels, you know, it's a release. So the people that are there with you, you know, they really help. And I've got some really good friendships through it. You know, people you would never expect to be friends with, guys in their 70s. There's a gal that's from this, she's 24 years old, and, you know, and I, you know, we're racing, and I said, you got 26 years on me. I said, I was graduated from college when you were born, you know, but we're still racing and having a good time together. So it's just a good community, and it's fun because when you're competitive, when you're, you know, still got it a little bit, and you still get out there and you can keep up with everybody. There's that mutual respect that you have when somebody can beat you, you know. And here's a 50-year-old guy, and I'm beating like 27, 28-year-olds. They look at you differently, right? One guy goes, "You cheated." I said, "No, I didn't. I got 30 years on you. You cheated."
That's right.
You're living with mom, getting home cooked meals. I'm waking up, cutting strawberries. I'm still kicking your butt. So I love the competitiveness. It's fun, and it you know, it keeps me alive.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a great release, and I think that's such a great way to describe swimming generally, but especially, you know, like a master's team. You know, every walk of life, so many different backgrounds, but you're all there to find that therapy, which is a great part of it, and a great part of that community to be around.
Right. No, it's important.
Well, Matt, I've enjoyed talking to you so much. Thank you so much for your openness, your honesty, and opening up about swimming and your daily life now. Before we sign off today, any parting thoughts you'd like to share?
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know that we're going to start. We've started a foundation in my wife's honor. It's called the Christina Mauser Foundation, and we're going to be giving scholarships to women who represent or have a lot of the qualities that Christina had. You know, team first, always put, work your heart. Christina was the best player on her team, but she was the hardest working player on her team. And that was her coach who said that at her funeral. And it's a rare quality. We're going to find those girls who maybe don't have the economic ability that others do to pursue sports in college or at whatever level they're at, and we're going to help them out. So we're going to hopefully people will go to Christina Mauser Foundation and donate and keep up with our, the music. We're going to do every concert we're going to do is going to be in her honor. And if you want to help us out, we'd appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate it, Matt. And again, thanks a lot for your time today.
Yeah, Coleman. Thank you.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.